Technology stocks fell sharply yesterday, particularly those linked to AI and semiconductors, and that came after Donald Trump said Taiwan should pay for its own defence. Will Bain has more on that and the rest of the business news. Morning, Will.
Morning, Amal. Morning, Martha. Yeah, very linked to what you were just talking with Nomia Iqbal about. In fact, the front of the Financial Times this morning, Trump triggers chips dip. It was commented in an interview that the former president and Republican candidate for president made with Bloomberg. Also coupled, though, with reports that the United States could be considering tougher restrictions on trading chips with China, seemed to spark pretty big reaction across the markets. George Godber, fund manager at Polar Capital, is with us, as is Emily Taylor, chief executive of cyber intelligence company Oxford Information Labs, and Emily, also the editor of Chatham House's Journal of Cyber Policy. Morning, both. George, first of all, significant moves, particularly for the whole wider NASDAQ and S&P 500, but for very specific companies within those as well.
Yeah, the overall semiconductor index sort of fell 10% yesterday. Now, I would put that in context. It's been very, very, very strong this year, still up 30%. You've seen the likes of NVIDIA that you've covered so many times, up over 100% year to date. So it is in the context of some very big, sharp upward moves. But the two events that you alluded to yesterday caused quite a sharp reaction. And of course, the impact on the valuations of those businesses because of the sky high, PEs that they're trading on was very, very material.
Yeah, NVIDIA down around 6% yesterday at one point, wasn't it? And Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Co., TSMC as it's better known, another big mover in its US listing, George.
Yeah, so TSMC, which is the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, that has been hit by these comments that you talked about. Donald Trump said Taiwan should pay for defense, and, we're just offering your insurance company for free and they're not, giving us anything in return. But just to put it in context, the concentration on the importance of TSMC, Taiwan is expected to make 66% of the world's advanced chips this year. If you think about sort of an industry like, OPEC, it has 40% market share. So the concentration of these important chips is incredible in that area. So if the US president is saying we may not protect you, the implications are huge, and the knock-on implications, what that would mean for global GDP, are vast. So,
Emily Taylor, just expand on that Taiwan element.
Yes, there's the economic implications and also national security implications of some disruption in the Taiwan supply chain. When we saw chip supplies affected during the pandemic, that led to inflation and shortages in cars, consumer electronics, and many other items. But the national security dimension, there's a saying in Taiwan, Ukraine today, Taiwan tomorrow. A strong US moral and military support has been a game changer for Ukraine's defense and arguably a restraint on an increasingly assertive China.
And more broad... carry on.
Well, just to say it might happen doesn't mean it would happen. Taiwan's strength in semiconductors, it calls it its own silicon shield, a defense in itself because of the interdependence of global supply chains and Taiwan's very strong position in manufacturing.
I was just going to say, to sort of broaden it to China, who you've referenced there, Emily, as well. We were hearing in Nomia Iqbal's conversation with Martha just a minute ago about some of the rhetoric that J.D. Vance, Donald Trump's pick as vice president on the Republican ticket for the election coming up. I was watching the speech earlier this morning. I mean, lots about how globalization hasn't worked for America, sort of sounding out potentially more tariffs. Presumably that is going to be around things exactly like this, right? Around chips. The chips are seen as part of a national security strategy as well as an economic strategy for the United States.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And we've seen, actually a lot of bipartisan support for a strong position on China in relation to technology. And there's been a whole string of sanctions affecting Chinese access to technologies for semiconductors. Semiconductors really have been a lightning rod, if you like, for these geopolitical tensions, and the Biden administration has not only strengthened sanctions preventing access to China for key technologies, but has also, of course, unveiled a huge state subsidy of $30 billion, which could, they hope, unlock 10 times that amount in private sector investment in chip manufacturing. So an awful lot of change in these globalized supply chains. You know, J.D. Vance may view globalization as something that isn't working, but these supply chains were established in an era where there was a lot more confidence in globalization, and semiconductors are par excellence the globalized supply chain.
Emily, thanks so much for your time this morning. Emily Taylor, their Chief Executive of the cyber intelligence company Oxford Information Labs.